Hello again, and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about something that occurred to me recently that really has helped me to understand things. And I think it will with you as well. When you are thinking back on the person you were with, or just trying to understand these insane, enigmatic narcissists in general, it just gives a level of peace and understanding about what is going on with them. Hold on a sec, I'm going to lower my screen here. I'm getting a glare. Alright, hopefully this is better. So, the thing is, I was at a store not too long ago, maybe a couple months, and I actually happened to run into the narcissist. And she was there alone, and by now she had been completely entrenched in other relationships, has gotten herself in a pickle and an entanglement and stuff like this, as they always do. But she was walking around all by herself. And we didn't speak. I don't even know that she saw me. But the point is, later on I was thinking on it. And it's almost as though God kind of gave me an interpretation of what I should think from what I saw. And really the interpretation was that even though she is never going to be single, and I'll explain this, even though she'll never be single, she'll always be alone. She'll always be that person at the department store or wherever, walking around all by herself, no matter what it seems like, and no matter who she might even be with. And it occurred to me, so that was my takeaway. And let me explain why this is. So the narcissist is never single, but is always alone. And this is all of them. When I say the narcissist, I mean all of them. So let me start with the first part, never being single. When you got into the relationship with the narcissist, I'm sure that you were under the impression or directly told that they're single. And so what does it mean when we say single? When people like us, normal, healthy, decent, moral, especially God-fearing people say we're single, what we mean is there's no romantic interest in our lives, period, across the board. We're not married, we're not engaged, we don't have a girlfriend or boyfriend, we're not dating anybody, we're not even texting or flirting romantically, consistently with some person. When we say single, we mean completely available, nobody in our lives, romantically, none. We don't mean we're talking to 3-4 people, or we mean there's nobody in our lives. That's not what the narcissist means when they say, I'm single. What they mean is, predominantly, I don't have a main source of supply. I don't have a central sub-character in my giant movie where I am the primary character. I don't have that sub-character that's playing the role for the time being as my significant other. My main squeeze. That's what they mean. But sometimes they may even have a main squeeze or a main supply, and they're going to tell you they don't, because they're liars, cheaters, manipulators, and they're always eyeing somebody. They're always looking for somebody to take your place or to serve as a backup. So they don't mean the same thing that we do when they say they're single. To a narcissist, and I talk about this frequently, they have backups all the time. Backups for backups for backups, backups for days if they can. They want to keep a harem garage of people that are there on supply, on tap, in case they ever need them to be there. And I've talked about how this practice has rubbed off into society. That a lot of people in this world, a huge percentage of people have others in backup positions in case their relationship breaks down. They can monkey wrench right over. Well, that's as narcissistic as it comes. And the narcissist, that's what they do. So when they say, yeah, I'm single, what they really mean is, I don't have a direct main supply at the moment. Probably, maybe they do, but they probably mean I don't. But what they also mean is, well, yeah, I have this, that, and the other person that are on the hook. I'm flirting with this person. I'm talking with these 2 or 3 people. I'm on this dating app. I've got 3 or 4 other things going there. That's what they mean when they say single. I'm just not completely in a permanent, fixed relationship. So guys, when you met the narcissist, they were never single. Not from 2 months before you met, not from a day, not the day you met, not the day after you met, not a week or 2 or 3 or 4, not 10 dates in, not when you became relationship official, not when you became their boyfriend or girlfriend, not if you became their spouse, not if you were engaged, certainly, and if you became their husband or wife. They still weren't single. Not just because they were with you, but because they had other people in the background. At best, at least, I should say, in the background, probably in much more substantial roles, including cheating. So this is why I say, guys, all narcissists cheat. I know there are many influencers out there who will tell you, well, not all narcissists cheat. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think that's correct. Unless you're only defining cheating as a physical romantic interaction or relationship, and you exclude all the mental arrangements and situationships that exist. If you're talking about whether sleeping with somebody, that's the only form of cheating. Well, okay, maybe they're not all cheating all the time then, but most of them are. But there's never a point in time when they're actually just dealing with you. So they're going to have their backups. They're going to be cheating. The only other circumstance I can see where they wouldn't have backups and they wouldn't be cheating and they wouldn't be doing these things is if they literally cannot do it. Meaning in this day and age with dating apps, social media, what I mean is by can't do it, I mean something is really wrong with that person. Maybe they're very physically unattractive, very, very. And even that's probably not going to stop most people today. There's just too much opportunity. And there's a lot of desperate people out there. So, anyway, they're never single. Let's be clear about that. That being said, they're also always alone. You see, going back to that example when I saw the narcissist walking around by herself at a department store, even though she's in a pretty fierce entanglement with a person, she was all alone. Not there with him or anyone else, all alone. And it wasn't an isolated event. My point is, even when they're in a relationship, they're never actually in a relationship. They have all of these people and supply sources and backups and the main supply source or the main squeeze, and they have these people at all times because they're never single. I mean, they're never single, but they're also never with any of these people. The number one thing that I got to tell you, if you were in a relationship with one that you can attest to, and if you did not feel this way, I'm here to tell you, you probably weren't dealing with a narcissist. Because if you're with a narcissist, you will feel like they have one foot out the door at all times. Minus maybe the love bomb in the first 2-3 months-ish. After that, you will always feel like they're never in. They're never invested. And the truth is, it's for many reasons. One of them is because they're always dealing with other people. So they never really are all in on you. And why aren't they ever all in on anyone? They don't want to get hurt. They're going to protect and cover themselves at all times. They are never going to be vulnerable with anybody. They're never going to absolutely, completely open up and divulge who they are and go all in on any relationship and be truly invested and just deal with you and that one person alone and them only. And they're never going to open up and be vulnerable and tell you and reveal how they really feel and absolutely just put all their eggs in one basket. They're never going to do that because they are horrified of being hurt or abandoned. They have this deep-seated injury that is so deep within them that they are going to make sure they get one up on you and have other people in place and are seeing other people probably because they can't stand the idea of being hurt. So that is also why it goes back to the first part, why they're never single. Because they're not going to risk being alone actually without a person in their lives, without a person. They're not going to risk it for 1 day, 1 second, 1 moment. That's why they're also cheating, because they want to make sure they have backups in place so that if the relationship starts to break down at all, they're ready to go, boom, bounce right on to the next person. So that's part of the reason, too, they're never single. But they're also always alone, because no matter what relationship it is, they're not invested. There is no core to that relationship. It is built on quicksand. They are not going to be vulnerable and leave themselves open. They're so afraid of abandonment. They're not going to risk that. These people are so highly insecure and so deeply disturbed on the inside and in the head. And they have so much, yes, I'm going to say it, demonic attachment, that there's no way they can ever be invested in anybody. That's why sometimes you might hear them say things like, people are disposable. Or, I've been talking to other people the whole time. Or, I don't get vulnerable with people. Or whatever it is you heard them say. And they don't. And for this reason, if you can't be vulnerable with a person, open yourself up and allow them into your heart, into your life, and risk. And that means risk. It means risk. If you cannot risk giving your heart over to another person, knowing that, in a sense, they hold your heart in their hand, they can destroy that, they can crush you, and that's the risk that you take. And that's why you don't give your heart over to somebody that you don't trust, that you know you haven't vetted and really got to know, and over the course of time to see how that person is, and if they can handle the responsibility and the privilege of having your heart. The narcissist can't do that. You're not going to give your heart over to somebody like that and have them respect it and cherish it. But if they cannot, in principle, trust you or go all in or not have one foot out the door and actually cherish your heart and give you in return their undivided attention, their undivided romantic attention. Hey, here's my heart. I'm all in on this. Every last bit of me, every ounce. Not 1, 2, 3, 4 fingers, a hand, a foot is out. It's all in on this. If you can't do that in a relationship, then you know what that also means? It means that you're doomed. The narcissist is doomed. They're destined for failure. That's why nothing ever works. That's why they go from relationship to relationship, on and on and on, boom, boom, boom. The cycle continues of love bombing and devaluation, and then the discard, and maybe a Hoover, and then the next person, and boom, 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 boom. Because they're never invested. They're never letting that person in. They're never going to let anyone in, ever. They're doomed. Literally, they're doomed. Because they can't love. They can't show vulnerability. They can't open up. They can't put all their eggs in one basket. And that means, very clearly, no relationship is ever going to work. It's never going to happen. But I know a narcissist who's been married for 10 years or 15 years, 20. So? But I know a narcissist who's, they're pregnant and they're getting engaged and they're moving in together and it's working. No, it's not. No, it's not. Guys, this is not how it happens. They are doomed to repeat this cycle with people throughout their whole entire lives. They didn't leave a relationship. Did the relationship with you go that way? Was it stable? Was it consistent? Sorry, my dog's drinking water here. He's lapping it up. But was it stable? Was it consistent? Was it anything that it was supposed to be? No. Did you ever feel like they were all in, like they were invested, like you were the only person in their lives? No, you never felt that way because you never were. And if it wasn't that way with you, and look at their track record, it wasn't that way in their past, obviously, then it's not going to be that way in the future. They're not going to suddenly meet somebody and they're like, you know what, this person's just so wonderful that I don't think I'm going to cheat anymore. I don't think I'm going to triangulate anymore. This person is so, I'm going to come correct with it. I'm going to get it right this time. No more cheating and manipulation and I'm going to be all in on this one. I'm going to give my heart over. I'm going to be invested. I'm going to get it right, darn it, with this one. Nope. Nope. Because they can't go all in on anything. That's their curse. They won't give their heart away. They won't be vulnerable. They won't be completely in on anyone ever. They weren't that way before you. They weren't that way with you, and they aren't that way now, and they won't be that way later on. So another call to remember for myself and for everybody listening, if you think that suddenly they're riding off into the sunset with this new supplier, this new person, and it's working, and they're moving in together, and they're getting married, and I saw pictures of them on vacation, and smiles, and you shouldn't be watching them anyway, if you can avoid it. If you don't have to, don't follow up on their social media. Don't watch them. Please don't do it. But if you are, oh, they look happy. They got it right for this person. Maybe the person they're with is really like, somehow they're better than me, and they're better than anybody they've been with, and they're just like, I can't pass this opportunity up. I got to get it right. And they're doing it. No, they're not. I promise you they're not. If you ever look back and think, well, we were only together for like 10 months, and now they've been with this person for 2 years. Clearly they're getting it right. Nope. Do you know all that it means? Let me tell you what it means. Because they're never all in. They're always alone, actually alone. They're never single, but they're always alone. Let me tell you why these relationships look like they work with the new person or some person down the road. It's been 3 years or 5, they're married or engaged or they're living together, or the only way that happens, guys, are you listening? Is if the person they're with is willing to take an unbelievable beating. If they're willing to just get profusely beaten and tossed around in that cage match with the demons, that's the only way it works. And it's not working. That person is surviving. Think about how it was with you. I know I was on eggshells all the time. I was anxious and nervous wreck. And I'm a pretty strong person. I always have been. Not bragging. I'm not easily swayed by anything or disturbed by anything. But when I got out of that relationship, you had to put Humpty Dumpty back together. I was a frazzled mess at first, as is everybody who goes through this. It's just how it works, because you're dealing with supernatural powers. You're dealing with demons, and you didn't realize it, but that's what it is. And they rattled you to the core. It's the only relationship you have to go on and actually heal from, and perhaps people go to therapy. I suggest you go to see the great therapist, that's God, Christ. But don't think for a second that these people are ever single, because they're never single. But also don't think that they're ever not alone. They are alone because they're not invested in anyone. People are disposable to the narcissist. A husband, a wife, that means nothing. It means nothing. If they didn't marry you and they did marry the person after you, that does not mean anything. It doesn't mean that they love them more or that person's better. What it probably means is the narcissist wanted something out of them in particular, probably financial or something of that sort. But what it also means is that person didn't put up boundaries. That person was willing to literally be an in-house doormat and put up with the most unspeakable abuse. They were willing to put up with abuse on and on and on and on, as long as it goes until that relationship breaks, and it will break. It'll break. They all do. Even if they're married to a narcissist for 40 years, I'm so sorry you wasted your life. You truly lost your whole life to one of these people. But you never had a relationship with them. You were an in-house doormat. You walked on eggshells. You lived in fear and anxiety your whole life, and they probably took everything from you. So, I'm trying to get the point across here. I hope this is making sense. And it really occurred to me strongly. They literally are never single, so don't think they're faithful to anybody, including you or the next person. That just isn't going to happen. But they're also, at the same time, incapable of forming good, lasting relationships with anyone. They cannot pair bond. They can't bond. They can't bond with you. They can't. It's part of their curse. So however long that relationship lasts, any given relationship with them, and they're usually quick. Sometimes, though, it's not. But no matter how long it lasts, they're still alone. They're still walking this planet by themselves because they have not invested completely in that person or anyone. They are an island of their own. No matter who is in their life or how many people are in their life, they're all alone because they haven't attached or bonded or become vulnerable or gone all in with anybody. And they never will. That's the narcissist curse. They're doomed to repeat this cycle all throughout their lives. Whether they're married or they're not, whether they're pregnant and engaged with this person or they've been with them for 6 months or 6 years or 16 years, or doesn't matter. They're always going to be alone because they're never invested in anybody. Yet, they're never going to be single because they're always going to have stuff going on. Always. So I hope this helps you guys. Another way to think about the narcissist that you dealt with, and any of them that you're dealing with now or in the future. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But anyway, so drop comments below if you have anything to add to this. I appreciate the new subscribers and everyone who's followed this channel from the beginning. I'm going to come at you with another one later this week. I do appreciate you listening. Hope you're having a great day, a great week so far. So until I come back, God bless.